Okay, so it's bang on the top of the hour, so we are ready to start. Hello, everyone, and you are very welcome to the Techbiz Transformation Series. It is to facilitate enterprise setup, survival, and recovery, whether during this crisis or even after the crisis. The focus is to consistently deliver to you meaningful, highly qualitative content to enable you and your business to thrive. This is the third of many episodes to come, and for those of you who have been in the first two, you know that this continues to be a transformatory journey, and we hope you are definitely experiencing that. So hashtag TechBees, hashtag Eco-Innovation. When you hear those tidbits, feel free to post them on social media. So quick housekeeping, you will see you're all muted. And the first part of our discussion with Naz will be 30 to 40 minutes, and then the rest will be for you to ask questions. And feel free in the course of the conversations to type in your questions into the chat box. You don't need to wait till the end, but during the question time, you can actually just raise your hand on Zoom, and then the host will unmute you so you can verbally ask your question. So you are welcome again. I'll go straight into it so that we optimize our time. A lot of the times people ask, what does Eco-Innovation Center do? So a quick introduction into what EIC is about. It's about enabling, individuals and enterprises to indeed solve the challenges that they may face in order to ensure that we are a part of solving poverty within the continent. And that's one of the SDGs, right? And we do this via innovation and also technology. So these are the two key enablers. On the right, you will see how we offer the support. There's learning, which is training and teaching soft and hard skills. We're in one of them right now. We also have full-scale trainings, offline and online, data analytics, media school, product incubation school, with a full stack grooming of product managers. Under research and sustainability, it's about enabling innovation of social impact products. That's the critical part there. And then digital products incubation and also acceleration. You do know, for all the techies in the room, it's about launching your ideas, accelerating startups as well. When you already have an MVP, we are able to accelerate there. If you just have an idea, we're able to help you launch. So I'm sure that you would like to connect with us. So anytime after the webinar, get in touch with us. You have the email address there, believe@ecoinnovationhub.com. Shoot us an email and we'll be ready to guide you on how to start. So this is going to be a real bumper session. I know we're going to have a full house. We had so many people who registered for this program because it is about money. And we know money talks, right? So that's why we're all keen to be here, right? So quick introductions into who I am and also to introduce Naz. I'm Doja Ikeruche. I've spent the last 2 decades devising and delivering complex strategies for large businesses, business units, delivering millions of dollars in revenue, and also leading multiple teams to execute and deliver the right kind of results. My scope is mainly in FMCG, particularly food, driving innovations, new products and existing ones, generating demand for all those products. And I've done this in multiple countries, of course, here in Nigeria, in Ghana, in South Africa, where Naz and I met, in the Philippines, and also in South Africa. So quite an interesting scope geographically that I have. And here I would like to talk about Naz, an amazing lady of many parts. Just call her Naz for short. That's what she likes to be called. Naz, is that correct?
Yep.
So Naz is a passionate, very passionate financial coach, financial planner, independent advisor, qualified wealth and financial manager. She's a business owner. She's a mentor. She's a global motivational speaker. She's a woman of many parts. She's the CEO and founder of Azuri Capital in South Africa, indeed having clients all around the world. And she has used her knowledge and skills in financial coaching to empower, to uplift, many men and women to be financially savvy and to find financial independence, which is what all of us desire. She's a multiple award winner, WOW Visionary Award in Mauritius and SA, Women in Business Achiever Award for 2 consecutive years. She's been nominated as a top 100, as part of the top 100 SA difference maker, and many more. You know, Nas has a very strong belief that creating wealth is not a solution for today, but creating a legacy for tomorrow. So that's absolutely amazing, Nas. And you are welcome. So I'm happy to have you today. I will be your host. You will be the one telling us all about the money, and we're quite keen to hear from you. Naz, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, and good evening to everybody that's online. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Doja and I met through very strange and wonderful ways. So South Africa brought us together, and the global continent has kept us connected. So I think that's the key for me. And I think so I'll start off with giving you some amazing news. So what I have done is, based on the platform, I will be offering 1 hour of financial coaching to one lucky winner on this platform. I will be giving you a little question in between, and whoever gets it correct gets to have a virtual financial coaching session with me, valued at $1,000.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Naz, that is absolutely amazing, and we have to say a big thank you to you. I'm sure the lucky one who wins it is going to have a transformatory time. There's just no doubt about it. Let's get right into it. Because there's so many questions people have already asked online, so we start already, you know, shooting those questions to you already, right? And of course, like I said, I know you're a woman of many parts, and we could talk about 1,000 things. But let's start with this easy one. When we are done today, right, what learnings do you want our participants to walk away with?
I think the key would be, you actually ended with creating wealth, not for today, but to leave a legacy for tomorrow. And I think for me, every individual should have a learning ability out of the session, that what have I done for my future? You know, it's not only about today, and we're living in very trying times. We as not just as South Africa or Nigeria, globally, we have been affected by COVID-19. And as a business person and as an entrepreneur, so I resonate with the people that are on this platform, is because I am an entrepreneur. So, you know, as an entrepreneur, what is your biggest fear, and what is your biggest happy place, if I could call it? You know, is for your business to be successful. Is for you to have the right tools to be able to run a successful business, even during COVID-19. And the line would be, is it's the fittest of the fittest that will survive this. And I think if there's anything that I would have to instill, is commitment to leaving a legacy for yourself, but from a financial space.
Excellent. Thank you, Naz. And we are definitely looking forward to it. You know, like I said to you, at the point of registration, our participants were asked to deliver quite a number of questions as well, to tell us what they want to hear coming out of here. And the biggest one you will see from practically all the responses was really, how do you start with no money? How do you start when you have either no money or very limited amounts of money? You know, what are your options? What are the, you know, funding mechanisms to raise money to be able to even start?
Well, I think the key would be is that you got to look at your product. And if your product needs to be something that sets you apart from everybody else. And I think that's the first step. So you've got to find a gap in the market. So whatever you are selling, you must remember, I come from the financial industry. So we always use the line that I sell you something that you can't see, you can't feel, and you can't touch until something happens in your life. So until you lose your job, you lose a loved one, or you become disabled, then you need my assistance. So you have actually bought a grudge purchase. So it's something for a what if situation, where you have entrepreneurs and your tech startups, they have something to deliver immediately. They have a product that they are quite passionate about. And I think the key would be is your commitment to how well is this product structured for you to go out and find finance? So it's very well to say that I've got the perfect product, but in terms of capital, no business can start without a capital. So your key would be is that, do I go to family and friends? And that's your bootstrapping. You know, do I take my personal little savings that I've put in place? And do I go to family and friends and say, listen, I've got an amazing product. Can you help me? If you've built trust and you've got good relationships, people will assist you, you know, whether you give them a portion of your business in terms of, you know, it's almost like collateral, you know, like the bank would want collateral from you. Somebody would want collateral to say, you know what, I will give you a specific period of time to lend you a specific amount of money, but with interest earned when you pay it back to me. That's one easy mechanism that you could go. Then you've got banks. I mean, today banks are not very easy to be able to loan people money. And the third would be your angel investors or syndicate investors, as you would call them. So a syndicate where you've got a few businessmen that are very wealthy. They've got enough funding. They have enough money available in their little bank balances purely to assist innovators, people that are passionate about their product. Okay. So if you get these syndicate investors or angel investors, remember, they're not going to do it for nothing. So there is an agreement that has to be put in place, and make sure that, you know, as an entrepreneur, even if you had to spend a little bit of money to see a lawyer, you know, to sit down with someone, to put in a proper agreement in place to say that I'm willing to give 10% or 15% of my business for a specific period of time and for a specific amount, so that you have the power to be able to buy back that, you know, percentage that you've given away in terms of collateral. I think, and you know, angel investors and syndicate investors are very open to wanting to build entrepreneurs. Their whole aim is that they've either come from an entrepreneurship background and they actually have walked that path. And, you know, had it not been for family or businesses, or they would just happen to be at the right place at the right time, that they got their first break. So an angel investor is someone that's actually looking to give you your first break in terms of having to invest in your business and to invest in the innovation of what you want to put out there. Then you've got another side where you actually do have the money. And a lot of people lose hindsight with this, where if they have funding and they've got a portion of it available, they immediately want to take all of that money and put it into their business. Whereas you could actually change the path. You could actually go to a loan house, or a bank, or your same syndicate or angel investor, and say, listen, I've got $100,000, for example. I need 500,000. I would actually put this down as collateral. I'm good for it. But in return, you give me the balance of that money to assist me. So instead of you having to put $100,000 into a business, and within a year, you lose all of that. Why? Because you didn't have any liquidity in your business. And that's where a lot of the entrepreneurs seem to lose, you know, their parts in business, is they don't look at the capital preservation that they need and the liquidity that is needed to be able to keep that business functioning. You end up moving your business from day to day. That means your survival is from one day to the next day, and you hope and pray that you can pay your bills by the end of the month. And that's not how a successful business runs. Your mind frame needs to be that for the next 3 to 5 years, you need to look at what are your assets, what are your liabilities, and what are your liquidities. And you need to be able to function where you at least have 3 months of income put aside, that should you not be able to function, should you not get that deal, or should you not sign that contract that you were so sure that you were going to get, you would at least have the business being able to be self-fund themselves for the next 3 months. And liquidity is the key to any startup business. And if you put yourself in that position where you know you've got your assets, your liabilities, and your liquidity correct, that already is a recipe for success for any business.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's quite tangible, right? 3 months of income put aside to ensure the self-fund. But let me ask you, right? If I had an idea, right, and a great idea, differentiated, this, you know, practically nothing like it in the market. It has very strong competitive advantage, but I don't even have 1 month to put aside. Would that, you know, would I be able to go straight up to an investor that, you know, all I have is an idea and a blank balance sheet?
I think entrepreneurs have taken a different outlook to life these days. And entrepreneurs, it's not looked upon. In the old days, if you didn't have a degree or you didn't finish school and you went into entrepreneurship, it was, you couldn't do anything else. You know, it was something that you had to now go sell on the corner street to make ends meet. You became an entrepreneur. The times that we're living in right now, it's not that. Today, an entrepreneur is running an empire, a successful business.
All right, Naz.
Okay, wait, where did we stop so we can carry on from there?
Exactly more. So where we stopped, right? Remember, you were talking about 3 months of income put aside, you know, for self-funding.
Yes.
And I said that in the event that you had a great idea and you don't even have up to 1 month of income set aside, and you needed a certain direction to even start to get some money in the first place, what would you do?
I think there's a few things that you would do. Firstly, we're very social media savvy these days. You know, to put out an advert that you are raising funds for an innovative startup company could be one way. And there are a lot of initiatives, and I know platforms that run on Facebook that actually, you could actually do an online course for free that are for startup fundraising. So if you're a startup and you're looking to raise funds, what avenue do you take? Firstly, it's free. So there's no money. There's nothing attached to it where you got to pay for it. It's online, so you don't have to even leave your home. So it's not going to cost you in terms of transport to get anywhere. As long as you have a bit of data and you are able to download and basically what we're doing right now, you know, we're helping people to think outside the box. You know, and also in terms of finances, if you look at those startup companies, every single startup company has to find something that they're good at besides a great idea, you know. So if you would have to raise funds, look at starting up, raising funds is one opportunity, you know, where you could actually go to a workshop, see how it works, and plan your own raising funds for your project. You know, name it, give it a name, make it look very interesting, make it look like people want to know what it is about. Put it out on social media. You know, whether you're using your WhatsApp as free advertising, whether you're using Instagram, whether you're using Facebook as an advertising group, also participate and find if your business is on the tech side or if your business is in whichever sector that's specific. Go into LinkedIn, go into Facebook, and look for specific groups that you could advertise that you are doing fundraising. You know, by you doing that, so you don't go into a clothing group trying to sell footwear, you know, or trying to sell a garbage bag, you know, disposable, or sanitizers, for example. You know, that's the environment that we're living in right now. But you could go into an environment where, you know, it's a corporate company that's wanting to buy sanitizers. So there might not necessarily be a huge company, but if you did the proper advertising and if you advertised it correctly on a small scale, you would have people that would be interested to want to invest in your business. So advertising for free, you know, and trying to raise funds for free. So look at different avenues. Don't use the blinker mentality. You know, a blinker mentality is like, you know, when a horse is running a race, a horse only sees what's in front. So they have a blinker mentality. So they have blinkers on the side and they don't see anything else to the right or to the left or what's behind them. They only see what's in front. When you're an entrepreneur, you can't have a blinker. You can't have that environment. You got to be able to look to the right, to the left, and in front and behind you for opportunity. And your productivity is based on that, because finance is such an easy method in terms of, yes, I need capital. Let me go and ask this family member. Let me ask this person. But if you haven't personally put in an effort, because the first thing, if you want to raise funds, how do you know how much you need? Have you done the homework to put a number that will suffice for you to actually start that business? You don't come out and you use just we use the analogy thumb suck. You know, don't thumb suck an amount that I need $100,000 or $10,000. Give me facts and figures. And that's where, as a financial coach, we come in to assist you to say, how much is the business going to cost you to start up? If you're not going to do business for 3 months, how much will it cost you to still keep that business running if you're not going to get business? How much of a salary are you going to pay yourself? Most entrepreneurs don't pay themselves a salary. they just live off the pot. They eat into that same pot, so they actually don't have.
That's risky.
Yes, they don't have a distinct assets, liabilities, income need, income expenditure. So, if you have a clear picture where, if you want to sell your business to someone, and be it a syndicate or an angel investor, or even to a family member, you need to have a solid proposal. Your proposal is the key to any business entrepreneur. You could be selling socks. It needs to be presented in the most outstanding way that you and I that don't wear socks will want to wear socks, because that's how interesting and innovative it is. So I think as an entrepreneur, that's the first step, is that you need to have a vision. Your vision needs to be put down on pen and paper. You need to have a financial goal. So it's one thing saying that you want to raise funds and you don't have any money. Most people use the easiest way is, I don't have any money. Who do I go to? How can I raise those funds? But the key would be is that, how much money do I need? How long does this money need to sustain me? If I fall into difficult times, how much would I need to keep myself afloat in terms of liquidity? How much staff would I need? Would I actually need staff to produce certain items, or would I be able to do it by myself so that I lessen the burden of expenses? So, those are and if I got sick, so as an entrepreneur, if I got sick tomorrow, how much money would I be losing by not being able to produce that specific item that I need to produce, for example?
It's an interesting thing you say about investors. And there's the school of thought that says, you don't just want investors, you also want smart investors. They bring with it investors who bring with them and a full ecosystem of business management, right? So investors, right, they don't just provide the money, they also bring expertise, time, access to networks as well. And of course, this is especially important for businesses that want to scale. So I think it's an important point that you're putting on the table, so that all of the factors are indeed considered. But then, still in that space of investors, and whether they are angel investors, syndicates, or whatever, what do you have specific tips for entrepreneurs to keep control of their business when they are acquiring outside capital?
I think the best money that an entrepreneur will spend as a startup, and if they're having an angel investor or syndicate to come into their business, is to have a tight-clad an agreement. And that is the best money that you would ever spend in terms of getting an attorney. And I think for me, that is the key to any business, because you want to safeguard. When we started our conversation, we talked about legacy. And this, as an entrepreneur, is your legacy. And if you don't take care of it from day one, whether the business is going to be successful, no entrepreneur goes into a business thinking that they're going to fail. Every single entrepreneur goes in with 150% gut feeling that they are going to be successful. But with that success, you've got to also have the right tools. So having a good attorney draw up a tight-clad agreement, an agreement that can be looked at on a yearly basis, because it can be based on the circumstances of the business. That angel partner could end up being a really blessing in disguise for you. They could actually really give you input into the business, and that person could really enjoy what your business has to offer and might not want to leave that business. So there could be synergies, for expansion and, also partnership on a different level. So, don't go in completely, under this presumption that the business is mine and it's only mine, and I've got a 3-year plan and that's it. Come hell, hail, water, I want my business back in 3 years. Go in with the entrepreneurial mind that I am expanding my knowledge. I'm learning from other people as well. Because remember, as an angel investor, you come with already expertise. You have been in the field of business. Doesn't matter what business, but you are an entrepreneur. So you've seen good days and bad days. And that's what made you a successful business person. And I think as a new entrepreneur, you need to look at that in hindsight as to what can this person leave me with, and is there an opportunity not just to look at it from a short-term space. So be open-minded when you look at, those kinds of views.
Interesting, right? Quite interesting points you're bringing to the table, right? And that's the beginning of the enterprise, right? But there's the in between while you actually start the operations, right? The question on the table is, how do you manage your business finances, right? What are the do's and don'ts in managing, your money? You alluded to one. You said you must pay yourself, right? But what are the other do's and don'ts when it comes to managing the money within your business when you are in operation?
I think the first thing that you need to do as a business owner is you need to separate your personal to your business expenses. And that's the reason why most people fall short in terms of having their business have liquidity, because they end up getting a big deal and that deal pays them a huge sum of money. And all of a sudden they are going out and buying luxury items that they didn't need. So they don't have a long-term view of, my need was only, for example, $5,000. I've now earned $10,000. So actually speaking, I only need $5,000. I don't need $10,000. So the other $5,000 for the business, I need to bank it. It cannot be part of my home expenses. It cannot be my new car payments, because a car that you didn't need last month, now all of a sudden this month you need a new car, and you'll find reasons as to why you need a new car. So you need to stick to the plan. And the plan is, that's where a financial coach again comes in, because we coach you to set targets for yourself. You need to be small, decent targets in terms of your business and your business needs and what is your personal needs. So as a business owner, your rent needs to be paid, your staff needs to be paid, items need to be purchased in terms of whatever, whether you're manufacturing business, in terms of equipment or whatever that you produce. But you also need to have money that's accessible, because just in case there's an opportunity for you to buy those same items at a much cheaper rate, and you would be able to hold on to them because they don't have a sell-by date. And that's where your extra cash for liquidity comes in. Or you had a very good staff member that produced a specific item or used a specific machine, and all of a sudden that person falls ill. Now you need to bring in someone for a short period of time. You need to pay them extra because they now become just a an entity where you're using for short-term business use. So, we normally call them like a locum, like our doctor's rooms has a doctor, and when the doctor's not available, he goes and gets an expertise, but they call the locum. But he has to pay them a higher rate because he's using them only for specific hours. So that extra cash can help you still keep your business running. But once you mix it up with your household, once you take that income and put it together, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
You can't tell what you paid for your business and what you paid for your personal expenses. And most entrepreneurs run their business as sole proprietors, and they use one bank account to run their household and their business. Biggest mistake. Biggest mistake. Because you would be buying groceries, you'd be filling petrol, and you'd be paying your staff out of the same account. And that does not make intelligent business sense. Absolutely not. And I think that's where most people completely and utterly fall short. And when they look at their finances and say, but I got paid so much, what happened to the money? And if you've got that little card that swipes and you have no control, right? Before you know it, you've used all that extra money that you've made. I normally tell clients, if you're going to earn extra out of your business, have a separate account. So, we normally have a market linked account or a savings account. You shouldn't even own a card for it, right? It should be an account that's just linked to your account. When you get paid the money from your business, technically, the extra money, that needs to be sifted into that separate account. And you're supposed to forget about it. That's how you actually build a little bit of net capital that could help you during your bad times, and to be able to help grow your business in the good times as well.
Thanks, Naz. Excellent. I would like for us to start to ask questions now,
Yes.
or take questions from the team, knowing that we had that short break in transmission.
Yes.
I have a few more questions I want to ask you. The biggest one I want to know is, what does it take to hire a financial coach, right? How much does it cost? How do you get a financial coach? But don't answer the question yet. Let's get our audience to please raise your hand if you have a question so that we can unmute you and we take your question. But in the meantime, I see one question in the chat room. It talks about startup women, right? And it says that startups by women most times find it difficult to have access to finance because they don't have collateral. How should women go about this? So this is asked by Clara Okoro.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little, I don't know how the analogy works in Nigeria, but I'm going to give it in South Africa, right? So there's a thing that a lot of people do, which is called stokvel, right? A stokvel,
Yes.
every single person should know what a stokvel is.
Okay, so
right?
just hold on. Stokvel in Yoruba will be a susu. I'm sure a lot of people on the line will know that it's susu. I don't know what it's called in other languages, but I know it's a susu in Yoruba.
Right. So if you don't have money, you would have a group which I call a sisterhood. You would have a group of women that know you very well, that every single month will give into that little kitty. And at the end of the month, if one person and every other person every other month collects that lump sum. That's your startup. That's your first startup. Also on the other side is that if you're an entrepreneur and you still have a day job, please don't ever leave your day job in the first 2 years that you want to start this entrepreneurial journey. Because that
2
again
years, you said.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years.
Why is that? Why 2 years?
Because on your third year is actually when the business really takes off. So your first 2 years is teething problems. It's like a baby has sore gums when they're about to be teething, right? Your business is going to have those sore gums. They're going to have the up, the down, the waves into the business. And if you're not an entrepreneur or you're not well versed as an entrepreneur, you're going to take on so much risk if you had a normal job. Do it part-time, hire people to take on. Work that extra hour in the evening, on weekends, to be able to build that business before you leave your full-time job. If you don't have a job, right, that's a different story, where you've got to go into an entrepreneurial environment. It's something where it's a do or die situation. A lot of people don't become entrepreneurs because they woke up one morning and said, hey, I'm now not going to work for anyone, I'm going to work for myself. It's a journey that one takes over a period of time, and it also takes skill, and you got to have heart, because it's a risky business. It's not something that you do just like that. You got to really have the grit in it to be able to live through the good times and the bad times. So I think if you're a startup, that stokvel, and you're given the other terminology for it, it's a good way, because I call it a sisterhood. Women should never ever lose sight that they don't have anyone or anything to look towards. So if you had a group of women that you trusted and they trusted you, that would be your first place to go for assistance. And if you're good with other things, so if you want to start a business in selling, for example, sanitizers, I'm going to use sanitizers as an example, and you are a very good cook. So you've been an excellent cook. You're a person that did a lot of events planning, and now more than 50 people is not allowed even at a funeral. What you should be doing is using that culinary skill of yours as a side hustle. And you would be able to then go and sell food and earn extra money because you were good at it. It's something that you're good at. It's not something that you're going to learn. That's your side hustle that you're good at, to be able to build enough income or liquidity to start your entrepreneurial journey in something completely different.
Yeah.
So, I'll give you a story of a lady when you say use your expertise or think outside the box. So during COVID-19, a lot of people have either lost their businesses, closed their doors. They had to rethink about how do they now still carry on making money and survive. And there was a woman that owned a boutique, right? So she used to make these beautiful long dresses and all sorts of garments. And she was a sole breadwinner, and she didn't know what to do because now it's COVID-19. She had to let go of her staff. She had a sewing machine, but she had no one to sew for because nobody was going out and shopping. So what she did was she had to reinvent herself. So she had to take her structure. She already had a structure in place, meaning she had clientele. She had a sewing machine. She had enough fabric. So what she started doing was making 2-ply face masks. And the next minute, the woman is inundated and she is now supplying 10,000 face masks from nothing. So she was running clothing business. She would have never have thought that she was going to do face masks. But she had to rethink, rewire herself to say, how do I make more money? The bottom line is, how do I make more money?
Yeah.
So you have to be innovative in your thinking for your business. You got to set yourself apart. You got to find a gap in the market. And the gap in the market is what will make your business survive at the end.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nurse. It's really just not about the narrow thinking. That's what you said. There's Olawale Oloyede raising his hand. Can we unmute him so he can ask his question?
My question is, how do I raise money for more productivity and expansion?
How do I raise
Say it
money?
again, please.
How do I raise money to increase my productivity and expansion?
How do you raise money to increase your productivity and your expansion?
And expansion, yes.
If you have an existing business, your business should have a value to it, right? And you could either approach, I'm not too sure whether a bank would be the right place to actually do it, but you would actually look at a place where you would find that, because based on the value of your business, if your business has value to it, they would actually offer you a loan for expansion of your business, because your business will be collateral. So, even if you found an angel investor in a person to say, listen, my business is worth $1 million, for example, I need an additional amount. And in that way, I already have value. So I'm bringing value to the party. I have an existing business. I just don't have the extra cash to be able to expand my business. So, by thinking outside the box, you bring in someone that you are willing to either do an agreement in terms of, you got specific banks outside, your local entity that offer you different scenarios in how they would borrow the money to you in terms of their interest in the business structure. So you could actually take a business loan for expansion. You could have an angel investor to come in with a business structure, not to help a brand new business, but an existing business. And your business could stand as collateral to give you that extra push that you need to expand your business.
Naz, what about partnerships, right? Considering that in the course of expansion, right, there are certain special services or needs that the organization may have, and instead of buying those needs directly, would there be possibility of partnerships in order to raise funds?
Absolutely. I mean, if the gentleman that just asked the question, whatever products he sells, and say it's a supply and demand in the environment, and he's got a very good customer that wants a specific product that's a regular customer that he has been delivering, they've got a good relationship, they have trust, he could actually approach that person and say, listen, I want to expand my business, you know what I'm capable of, would you like to partner with me? A partnership is also a very tricky thing because it's about trust, right? Trust is a very important thing. People want also transparency. Don't hide the money, away from me. The valuation of your business needs to be accurate and transparent. So I think when you get into business where it comes into partnership, you got to really, really look deep down to say, do I trust the business? Do I trust the person that I'm working with? And most importantly, put in agreement. So even though you may, have reservations, because remember, as an entrepreneur, you own the business. So you hold it very dear to yourself. You don't want to let go of it because it's something that's passionate that you have built on your own. And people say it's my blood and sweat. So it's much harder to let go of a percentage or portion of that if this has been your bread and butter, for your livelihood. So I think at the end of the day, partnerships are very much out there, short-term partnerships and long-term partnerships. But also you got business agreements. You could go to people for a business loan and a business expansion proposal. If you propose it well enough and professionally enough, the opportunities are vast out there.
So we're going to take one more voice question. There are a number of questions in the group chat that I would need to read to you. But before then, let's go quickly. Osahan, can we unmute Osahan so he can ask his question, please?
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Sahan. One thing I want to ask, or my question is, for me, foundation of a business is very important. And then you talked about getting into how do you call it now? Getting into a cycle of clientele and all that. So I wanted to ask, for people who render professional services, how can you ensure that your business foundation is in order and it's proper? Then how can you also gain access to your clients? I don't know if that's
Georgia, you repeat that for me.
okay. First question is, how do I ensure that the foundation of my business, especially for a professional service business, is in
Okay.
order? Then how can I also break into the clientele thing to be able to get clients for such business?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to
So
combine
this is
your
more in
answer.
the context of customer acquisition, actually.
Yeah, customer acquisition, and also in him building a solid foundation for his business. So I
Right.
think the foundation of your business will also come in from customer satisfaction. So for you to get more, I'm going to go with the second part before I do the first part. The second part is, how do you build clientele? Clientele is word of mouth. Clientele is delivering good service and not being afraid to ask for a referral. That is the most important lesson I learned 25 years ago, right? Is that don't be afraid to ask the person. If the person, so do a little form that it's called customer satisfaction, right? Where the person needs to write their name and their contact details, and they need to rate your business. So has it been good service? Has it been poor service? Is it something that we need to work on? What have you what haven't you been happy with? So that's customer service, right? And then at the bottom, you would put in 5 referrals. And you will link out 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and tell the person, if you are happy and you've given me a good, satisfactory response to the work that I've done for you, can you give me 5 referrals, 5 people that you think that would benefit out of my service? And if you give them the form immediately, they obviously rated you well because they were happy with the service that they just got. Why wouldn't they pull out their cell phones and give you 5 names if they said, well done? That's your first, that's the best advice I was given 20 odd years ago. And up till today, I use it in my business. My business only thrives.
You always use it. That's how we met anyway.
Exactly. I mean, Doja and I, just to give you a little insight, the person that had actually introduced Doja and I is not even my client up till now, right? But it was purely based on word of mouth. And our relationship has spanned in this short space of time. And that's how I'm actually here tonight. So it's word of mouth. So the person that actually referred me is not even my client, but the person that gave him my details made him believe that I was the right person because I delivered on my promise. So any business, it's about delivery on your promise. And, you know, if you do the referral list, automatically you're creating a foundation for your business. Because that word of mouth, and that also in terms of your business, if you do that little referral list or that little survey list, you're actually learning the good and the bad about your business. So maybe you're a person like myself. I mean, I talk to clients a lot. You get different types of clients. You get someone that's analytical. You get someone that doesn't want, they just need to know what it is and nothing else. You want someone that's loves to talk, so they like more and more information. And what happens with your business, you now need to analyze what type of person, what personality, or what is that business looking for. And I think that's the key in any business. If you can read into your client and you have the best relationship, because it's that interaction that makes your client believe that you are firstly an honest, transparent business person. And in that way, for you to get a referral, for you to build your client base will be the easiest thing that you could ever do. I still build my business on referrals, and Doja's one of them. And there's many more that I get. The other part about your business as well, from a social perspective, if you really want to increase your revenue in your business, you need to be socially savvy. So from a tech point of view, you need to advertise your business. You need to be on Facebook. You need to be on close groups that are specific to your business needs. So, that's the way, from a global perspective, we are all moving to. I mean, look at us today. We're this evening sitting here, and people are from all different walks of life that have all signed in to listen and to be part of this chat room. And the whole point of it is innovation. And that's what, the whole point of moving from the normal to the new norm. Yeah. Working from home, using that space that we were never used to, doing business from home, having a delivery service that people only used very, very limitedly. So I think thinking outside the box for your business is very important. I hope that answers it.
I have one interesting question here, again, about paying yourself a salary, right? It's from Kemsi Diva. And she says, you talked about paying yourself a salary. How is it to be paid? Is it from the monthly profit, or it's part of the business expenses before profit?
Definitely before the business. It's part of the business expenses. Profit should be banked. Profit should not be part of your expenses. So if you ran a business with whatever your monthly expenses would be, your salary will be part of that. So also, let me warn you, your salary does not mean that when you buy takeouts, you're swiping the business card. When you're taking your kids on a play date, you're swiping the business card. So you end up leaving all of those certain expenses that should have been coming out of your own personal salary, coming out of your business account. You want to go on holiday and you swipe your business card to say that you're going on a business trip. That's eating into your business. So you need to have a very clear cut between what is your business expenses and what is your salary going to be utilized for in terms of your home needs, your personal needs. You don't pay school fees from your business account. I know a lot of people that do that. And you've got to teach them and you've got to rewire them. And they don't realize that, you miss the point in running a efficient business model for your business from a financial space. The best thing you could ever do in a business is to pay yourself a salary and don't touch the profits.
Excellent. Thanks, Naz. Another question about side hustle, main hustle. So this is Yusuf, who says, for someone that lost his job already, knowing, of course, the COVID situation did create a lot of crises in businesses. So this guy has lost his job and now thinking of going into business that will be profitable in the future. What advice would you offer such an individual?
I think the most important thing is that, is his product something that's going to sell? And he's not going into it because he's unemployed. You got to look at the product, and is the product something that will expand longer than 3 to 5 years? Is it a short-term need type of a business because I'm unemployed? Or am I looking at it from a long-term perspective? And if I'm looking at it from a long-term perspective, during the short period, is it going to pay me or is it going to cost me more? Because if it's going to cost me more and I'm unemployed, how am I going to service it? How am I going to pay for it? So, the big question would be is you need to ask yourself, is this product or business that I'm going to go into, what's its longevity? Financial longevity. That would be the key. And also do a pros and cons. There's a test in the market. You always put your pros and your cons on one side. What is the pro to start this business? What are the cons to start it? So basically, what are the strengths and weaknesses of doing this? And what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses within this business? Do I know the product? Can I sell it? Is it something where I can get customers easily? Can I get it off the ground over a short period of time with the least capital that's needed to start this business? Those are also some of the key areas that you need to be concerned about. You got another one, Dojo?
Oh, okay. I said you are right, because starting a business out of desperation has its own big risks.
Yes, absolutely. So
Mm,
you need
yeah.
to think very carefully. A strategy needs to be put. So you need to put pen and paper, sit down and draw up the strengths and weaknesses of yourself and the strengths and weaknesses of the business. And you need to work through what you're good at and what you're not good at. And sometimes what happens is when a person goes into a business, they're so focused on making the business a success that they end up not seeing the weaknesses that is in them creeping up to them losing the business or them not being as successful as they should be because they haven't brought in the correct expertise to assist them on the places that they're weak on. So, never be a person that can juggle everything, because there's a line. You a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Big risk. Naz, I'm going to take one more question. If there's anyone who still has a verbal, oral question, you can raise your hand still. There's one last question I'm taking here from Fumulola Kuku. She says, compliments. Naz has aptly outlined the various means of raising capital for startups. Kindly explain the value of social capital in growing a startup, especially for professional service providers.
I think professional service providers, you got to first look at where's your niche. If you are in the professional industry, you got to look at what industry you actually going to specialize in, before you look at funding or you look at anything else that you may want for your business. I think each business has an expertise. You would need to go, if you want to be in a specific area, you would need to find someone who's an expert to be able to advise you. My field of expertise is the financial side, and that's the part that I speak about. But when it comes to, you being in an environment that's specific to your need, be it whether you're a startup or whether you're an in-between as a business, you would need to then find that particular skills. And also, you're not limited, because online offers so many different opportunities. You could sit in the comfort of your own home and be able to access all of these information. So don't limit yourself. I think whatever expertise you're looking for, look for it, but in a specific environment. That's the closest I could give you.
All right. You're owing me one more question, right, about
And
finding and hiring a coach.
Just one. I'm just going to interrupt you there just for a second. Whoever can answer what is the population of Nigeria, the first person that actually answers that will get my voucher, and they can send you their details before we forget.
You want to say what the voucher is again?
Okay, so the voucher is a 1-hour financial coaching session with me on virtual. So on Zoom, you will be able to get an hour's coaching, and that person that just answered that is the correct one, the first one.
Is it? Is
Yes.
it really? Whose authority?
Whoever is the first
Who
one.
counted? No, but who counted to say that was the number?
So I did a little homework of my own. You see, I had the question ready.
Okay, cool. So who's the winner? You can see the chat box as well. So who's the winner?
No, so on your side, whoever came up with the first number that said 200, that's the first person.
Aha. So the
first person.
Yes. So that is on my side. What I can see is Kafayat Akinwande. So she's the one who was the first person anyway, and her number was 200.
Congratulations. I look forward to hearing from you.
Okay. So Kafayat, we're going to give you a contact at the end so that you can.
Did you read that?
So someone is saying, but I'm the second person. Okay, well, the prize goes to Kafayat. So thank you, Kafayat, and thank you so much, Naz. That's a very, very kind gesture from you to coach someone, one of our participants. It's amazing, and the value of it also super strong. I think we have one question from Ademuyiwa Ashimolowo, so that will probably be the last question, so that then you can answer how I can hire a financial coach. I mean, I have one in you already anyway. But Ademuyiwa, please ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Eco Innovation Center. Thank you, Nas, and thank you, Pascal Risakwe, for inviting me. So my question is simple. In spite of all the knowledge that is available for small and medium enterprise, yet more than 90% of small and medium enterprise will not get into their 5th birthday. Now, my question is simple. What is that most important thing that SMEs must avoid?
I'll first tell you what they need to have so that they can avoid it, right? So the first thing a business needs is commitment. And the part that you need to avoid is overspending. For any business, structure is the most important thing. And with structure comes commitment and comes expenses. A lot of people don't know, especially in small enterprises, whether you're an SME from a small, medium to a large, where your business has grown over a specific period of time, people do not manage their finances. And that's the reason why businesses do not succeed as much as other businesses. And I think people get completely blown away by earning all of this money that they were not used to, and they don't have a specific roadmap for that plan. And I think every business needs a roadmap. A roadmap, points out the directions that you want to go to and how do you get to your destination. And every business should have a destination. What is my aim for my business over the next 3 years? When I get to 3 years, I need to now relook at my business and I need to put new goals in place for the next 5 years. So any business needs to reassess what they have when they started to where they are in the middle and where they're heading for the future. Because every business will evolve. They will change. There will be something in the environment that will force them. If you stay the same, you will never ever be able to evolve. And I'm going to give a very big company as an example. So in South Africa, everybody knows Edcon. And Edcon never evolved. All they did was.
Could you tell the line? Could you say the line of business they're in and how long they've been? Just give us a bit.
Okay, yeah. So
Edcon
is a clothing store that has been around for over 30 years. They have been in operation. So their number one customer is all your small, medium households to your larger households. And their biggest space, rental space, is in shopping malls. So Sandton City, for example, holds 3 floors of Edgar's mall space. And that's huge. But what they did over the years is that they tried to get into different companies. They bought out different companies, smaller companies, and they wanted to hold all of these different brands, but too much. And what they were doing is they were competing with the same brand that was owning a store outside their store. Yeah. So they were keeping stuff, for example, for Ted Baker, like Gucci or Guess. They were keeping those kind of garments, shoes, clothing, handbags, whatever it may be, in store, and yet the same brand had their own store outside in the same shopping mall. And they completely lost the plot. They overextended themselves. They couldn't pay their credit. Currently, they are in business rescue. 25,000 people are looming as in terms of their job security. At least half of those people are going to lose their jobs no matter what, or almost all of them. And there's been 3 companies that try to save them. And currently they are owned by four of the big major banks. And they themselves say that they can't cope. So also growing your business and going too big too quickly and not reinventing yourself. So you got to look at your business and you got to see, what am I good at? What are my strengths for this business? But you must also be open-minded to say, what can I change in my business so that I am changing with the times, so that I don't get left behind? And that's what happened with Edgar's. They've actually gotten left behind because everybody else has moved forward. They're exactly in the same spot that they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, they did say that they may not be able to come back after this lockdown. I remember them having that announcement. You know what? We're going to set a dead time, which will be 7:30 Nigerian time, 8:30 your time. Thank you, Naz, for stretching it that far. I do have still more questions. I will cut the questions at 7:25, which is your 8:25, if you don't mind. So,
Okay.
Oluremi Rotimi, you raised your hand. You want to ask a question? Can you ask it now?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. That was a mistake, but I've actually sent the chats. I've actually sent the chat. I wanted to send a chat. I mistakenly raised my hand, but I've sent in my chat.
Okay, that's fine then. So I'm just going to take one more question from the chat then, from Biodu Adams. He says, between liquidity and profitability, which is more important for a startup?
Liquidity.
I can see we're using both startup and entrepreneur. We're using them in as synonyms, but it's fine. So which is more important?
Liquidity, without a doubt. Because in the first 3 to 5 years of a business, you may not see profitability. And if you did, then your business has to be really something that's setting itself apart. But in most cases, if you're a startup, your liquidity in your business is the most vital thing. It's, it's almost like oxygen to a human being. It's what you're breathing in to keep yourself alive. And that's what your business needs. Your business needs liquidity. That cash flow in your credit balance is the most important thing that a business could ever have. For you to actually attain success in your business, the more liquidity you have, the better or healthier is your books in your business. That's when you actually will enjoy profitability later on. Because if you worry about profitability, your focus will not be on growing the business. Your focus will be is how much money can I gain out of the business? And that's not what you want. If you're an entrepreneur, you want longevity in your business. You want the years in the business. You don't want a short frame. I mean, if you're putting in all this effort to grow your business and to grow your brand, you don't want to grow it for a short period of time. You want to enjoy it for a good couple of years to come. So if you've got liquidity, your business will never ever run out of money, that you would be able to pay yourself a dividend every year. So don't call it profitability, call it a dividend, and that's a far more better way to build a nest egg for yourself from your business. I call that retirement money, is a dividend.
You have 2 minutes to answer this next question, and that's it. Vivian OO, you want to ask your question quickly, please?
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thanks to the guests for coming. So basically, I want to find out, if she can give us nuggets on how we can manage performance.
Performance
so
in
that's
what?
The question. Okay, so performance at the workplace vis-a-vis objectives and values of the business.
What type of business you talking about, Media?
I think she's muted it already.
She muted herself.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I'm back on now. So it's a retail business.
Okay. So you're talking about you're in a retail business, and how do you motivate to keep the business or to keep your staff?
Exactly.
To get productivity out of the employees. That's what it's saying. So that's like target setting. Yeah.
Okay, I love the question. I think the key would be is that you need to firstly be human. In any business, people always like the humanness in extracting the best productivity out of them. So if you look at the staff that you have and you look at them as workers, nobody will be as productive if they're just known as workers. It's like you being the mother bee and you have all these little bees that are the worker bees. And you will never get as much productivity as you would if you actually spend a little bit more time setting targets for your staff. Sitting down and actually bringing out the best, have one-on-one meetings, set a target for that person as an appraisal to say, if you reach this amount of a target in terms of the retail space, this is how you'd be remunerated in terms of tiers. You could put in certain tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and get them to have goal settings. If they have goals and they got certain things that they want to attain, by them putting in that extra effort in terms of your productivity of your business, you not only then generate a good staff, you generate good revenue, and overall, you get a good staff morale. Because if you have positive staff, you have a positive outcome. But if you, I mean, look at a basket of apples. If you have one rotten apple, the rest of the apples are bound to get rotten, you know? So if you have one negative staff member, automatically that negativity is going to overflow into other people. And if you want to pick up morale, you know, you would, you know, invest in a coach that can come in and speak to the staff, because you don't know what staff could be going through from a personal perspective. You know, they could be having family problems, financial problems, illness, that is stopping them from being as productive, because stress and depression and anxiety is one of the killers in a work environment, you know? So it's not only about money. Money also gives you depression. If you don't have enough, if you're running 2-3 households, you're looking after 2-3 families, you know, unfortunately, that's a reality that we all live in, especially in Africa. You know, we have so many people that we take care of as extended family members, and unfortunately, the burden then becomes ours. So we end up with this financial stress. And I think as a business, for you to be better and want that productivity out of your staff, you got to look a little bit deeper. And, you know, having an appraisal or having goal setting will not only help your business to be more productive, but it'll also look at you to shine on that I care about my staff. You know, anyone that shows the human side, people will do anything for you based on that. I mean, Georgia, you've worked over the years with a lot of staff.
I was going to say, in the retail space, one of the things that I have seen work to improve productivity is a fixed and variable remuneration. So there's the fixed pay, right, which is basically the salary that is agreed to be paid on a monthly basis. And there's the part that is variable, which is on the basis of whatever it is that individual contributes from a turnover. So whether it is a salesman, so depending on how many packs, products, cases you sell, versus the target, then you get a variable part of it, whether it's 10 naira per additional pack on top of your targets that you sell. So that in and of itself drives and motivates for the individual to not only meet the target, but exceed the target. Naz, you have been amazing. All right, sorry, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to say that's where the tiers come in. Because if you motivate them, they will excel and they'll be remunerated accordingly. And who doesn't want to take an extra amount of money home just based on their productivity and they work excellence, you know, that we're looking at?
Spot on, spot on. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the participants. Again, thank you for staying on even when we had the break in transmission. I think, Naz, you were just so amazing right from the beginning that everyone just couldn't stop getting a part of the information. We are having another webinar this time next week. It's for techies. It's really about techpreneurship and how you are able to take your technology from the lab where it's established to the market. So it's more like unlocking the potential of technology to solve the global problems, but then you invent and you launch promising technology to the market, bring your ideas to the market. So you will see that communication go out in the coming days for our webinar next week. Now, Naz, you have committed to Kafayat Akinwande for the coaching. We're really grateful. I'm sure Kafayat is extremely happy. So you can give her the financial coaching. And I'm not able to share my screen, but you do know that Eco Eye Center is available on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Eco Innovation Center, and you can check www.ecoeyecenter.com. That's where you find us. And remember, at the beginning, I did say, if you need help with your startup, with your business, you need acceleration, you need scaling, you have an idea you want to launch, you can send the mail to believe@ecoinnovationhub.com. Ecoinnovationhub, HUB.com. Please send your emails there. Naz, to wrap up, is there something that we should have known or we should have talked about that we didn't talk about?
Yes, actually, I was going to say something else, but I've completely changed my mind. So after the conversation that we've had, I think the most important thing that everybody needs to learn out of this is to have a budget and to have faith in God. And I think we are in trying times and we need to have the belief in the higher power that we will all get through this as one, as a unity. And when you look at your finances, please think of a budget. Because if you don't have a budget, then your finances doesn't have anywhere to go. So we can talk about all the money in the world, but if you don't put that commitment of a budget pen to paper, it will never work out. So that's one of my parting shots. And I think stay blessed, stay safe to one and all. And thank you so much to Echo Innovation for allowing me this opportunity. And thank you to you, Doja, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone. Have a lovely night. And please stay safe. Good night and bye-bye.
Bye.